Now let's move on to the next keynote address, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about a customer's perspective about business transformation by AI. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome on stage Dr. Saumendra Mohanty, Director, Value First Digital Media Private Limited. Please join me to welcome Dr. Saumendra Mohanty. We are thrilled to have you, sir.
I thought that I'll be giving some PPT slides, but the topic is so vast that I can't cover it in 20 minutes. So I'll just take 2 minutes to give a brief introduction about why I'm here in the first place. I've been in IT and telecom industry for almost 3 decades, more than 3 decades now. And then suddenly I switched track and moved into academics. So I'm also a professor of AI in Bennett University for last 5 years. And I have been involved in a lot of proof of concepts around AI. And in fact, I do a lot of projects around that, involved in a lot of project corporate consultancies. So I thought that maybe let me share with you something which is happening real time today in India around Gen AI, which is hitting us like a volcano and which is actually transforming our lives, because I am supposed to talk about users' perspective only. So let us start with something like human resource. All of us are actually applying in LinkedIn. I mean, I am not applying anymore, I am beyond that age now. But most of the people, they do that easy apply, but actually nothing happens after that. The reason for that is, it is all going through an algorithm. Algorithm is nothing but a statistical equation. Give a data to that, it learns and it becomes a model. So what happens is that it uses a very simple thing called cos theta. Let's say you have a job description, it is converted into a vector, a magnitude and direction. Your resume is also a vector. So 2 vectors, there's an angle between them. Cos 0 is 1 and cos 90 is 0. So more the angle, the larger the distance between the 2 documents. So there's an algorithm which is actually calculating how much is the distance between the documents. And let's say the company fixes 17 degrees and above reject. So automatically resumes are rejected. Nobody is actually manually going through that. So what happens that in our resume, we are talking about skills. Skills is matched through this cosine theta, but we also talk about ourselves. Everybody talks big things about himself. So we are doing something called scrapping, web scrapping. Go to the Facebook, Insta, scrap everything that people are posting. It talks volumes about the person and his attitude. Convert that into a number between minus and 1. Minus 1, 0 to 1, which is called sentiment analysis. So we have a number about that person's attitude. Mash both the things and you have a person who is ready to come to the second round of interview or rejected. No person is involved. It's happening as I say today. Next is you are sitting in front of the computer. It's happening a lot in the IT industry these days. And an interview is happening. The person at the other end is basically a chatbot throwing questions at you, and a convolutional neural network, which is actually doing image processing, is checking basically your body movements, and any deviation it immediately detects. So again, no person is involved. You cleared the interview, you joined the company. Nobody is there to welcome to you. You simply have a chatbot which tells you where's the cafeteria, where's the cab, where is your sitting place, and all those things. You go and sit somewhere, but then you need to have a supervisor to tell you what to do. There are knowledge portals, expert systems. You dig into that, it will tell you what is to be done. So I am visualizing a situation, not everything is happening, bulk of that is happening, and actually it will all happen in next 5 years or less than that. We are involved in a project around that. Cost saving, because employees are saved, and a human actually when sorting resumes can be biased, tired, machine cannot. So you come back, you have not actually seen anybody till that time. So the moment you come back, you hit your Netflix and automatically the movies start appearing that maybe you like this, maybe you like that. For all of you, I can give you a statistics that the maximum libraries, video libraries are there with Prime Video, yet Netflix is a success story with fewer libraries. Reason is they have something called recommendation system. Recommendation system simply personalizes your experience, matches with whatever the other genre movies are there, thriller or spies or whatever, and recommends that to you, which Prime Video still is not catching up. So Netflix is Netflix. So again, a machine is taking over your entire thing. Then you hit the e-commerce, trying to purchase something. Again, a recommendation system, because you purchase this, more options will come up to you. They're all algorithms, association algorithms, classification algorithms. Looks very difficult, not so difficult at all at the back end. And when you purchase, you also read the reviews. Now, who looks at the star system? I will give a 4 rating, somebody will give the 3 rating. 4 rating and 3 rating, they are totally very, very relative, not absolute. I am a conservative guy, I will not go beyond 4. Somebody is liberal, for a lousy product, he can give 4. So, what is more important is the subjective part, what is written about the product. 5,000, 6,000 reviews about a product that you are trying to buy. Do you have the time to go through all that things? Just extract all that, put that into a sentiment analysis algorithm. There are plenty of them. We have already implemented a few, and it gives you a score between -1 and +1. So, if it is more than 0 to 1, it's a good product, buy it, because it has summarized everything, and then you are ready to buy. So, you bought it. That's as far as marketing is concerned. That is also hitting you very hard, because again no interaction with anybody. Now, the product delivery takes place. That's very interesting, because already things are happening like that in Alibaba or also in Amazon in US. Trials happened in Flipkart. So, there is basically this large warehouses where robots are moving around with a lot of goods and packages to various doors of the entire large hall. And the robots are moving through an algorithm, which is basically recommendation, it's basically your supervised algorithm. And the moment hits the other robot, it gets punished. Somehow it manages to find the door, and there's a driverless truck which is sitting there. It is loaded on the driverless truck. Again, it's like Google driverless car. It started with the reinforcement learning, converted into supervised learning. It's a very funny thing. These driverless cars are started with reinforcement. Reinforcement is reward and punishment. Make a mistake, learn from that mistake, don't make that mistake again. Now, suppose you are going, it's like a baby walking, hits a wall. The mother actually punishes the baby. So, next time it will not hit the wall. The mother actually applauds the baby. So, it's called reward and punishment. So, the car started with this reinforcement learning. So, there's a car is going, you see a human body, a person, hit the person, you learn from the mistake. But what's the cost of that? So, it got changed to supervised, that the machine is told what is right and what is wrong. So, today all the cars have changed from reinforcement to supervised learning. Goods are loaded on the driverless car. It reaches the nearest local warehouse. It's not a story, by the way, it is happening. So, in the local warehouse, again no human is there. Basically a drone comes, picks up, delivers to the nearest house, no traffic jam, nothing. The good thing is that it worked very well in US. Unfortunately, the drone part did not work out in India. Of course, driverless goes through a policy change and all, so it's still not there in India. Why did not work out in India? Flipkart did a very good experiment in Bangalore. It's because when the drone is going, so I have a danda and I'll just hit the drone down, bring it down, get the package and run away. You know, this thing is very, very, jugaad factor is very high in India. So, it is very difficult to implement these things, but with time it will going to change and things will change. So, back home I am still wondering what to do. The delivery is already happening. So, now there is something called the favorite part which everybody does, stock market trading. I am trading the stock market, so is everybody. But yesterday stock price was very good, and I am hoping that tomorrow it will shoot up, but the market crashes. Why it crashes? Because some news, some bomb has exploded somewhere, Russia has hit Ukraine, something like that which has nothing to do with our economy. But we call that because the market sentiments. So, all the algorithms are getting very, very unpredictable now, which were happening on those, simple moving average, exponential moving average. Those algorithms are actually not happening. Now, what we have done is that we have converted an algorithm which is using all the deep learning methodologies like your recurrent neural networks for the data part, previous data, but it also checks the news and checks the sentiment value of news. So, there is a large language model which is a Gen AI model called Robota, which is already trained on this news. So, it picks up the news, convert that into a score, and it is not that difficult. Earlier algorithms just used to pick up a corpus and put up the value of that word. Now, it is all part of a trained algorithm. That score is now matched with the actual yesterday's data, stock price, and then it will tell you what is the right stock price for tomorrow. So, we have actually worked out on this algorithm, And we found that it is much more accurately predicting, because the news plays a very, very important part in the entire thing. So the prediction are happening now, not because of real value of the stock prices, but because of the news which is happening automatically. Now what I do is that I want to plan some holiday next time, next thing on my agenda, how users' lives are transforming. How do you plan a holiday? You want to go and visit a hotel, stay there or whatever. But in a hotel, again, there are a lot of reviews. You will not go with the rating system. So we did a very good project for a hotel in Goa, Baga Beach Resort. And the owner was very perplexed, because he said, there are 10,000 reviews. What do we do? People are writing everything. There's a guy who writes that it's an amazing place and I like the room, but the curtain was very dirty and the room service was not good. The waiter was good, but the breakfast was stale. But overall, not that good, bad a place. So what do you make out of it? Is it good, bad or ugly? That's the way people write. 3 rating. Now, if I am very particular about the curtains, I may not go. But similarly, all the reviews are like that. If you actually, we went through some 3,200 plus reviews and everything was writing like that. So when you convert that again into a score, every word has a polarity value, then the LLMs are trained in a different manner. Then the score came, it was actually 0.665 for 5,000 reviews. Now 0.665, the owner is happy that overall people are happy with my hotel. But then our point was that they are happy. But look at those reviews which are below 0. So when you filter out, there are 400 reviews which are from 0 to -1. And those were really bad reviews, like some watchman getting drunk and asking for some bribe or something like that. So the action has to be taken on that, and action was taken on that. So it is basically it is actually transforming the life of the owner, who is not a tech guy. It is also transforming the life of the user who is going to stay in that hotel. Because when he goes there, he knows overall what is the score of that sort. Everything is a number at the end of the day. So when we look at what is happening today, it is basically, we are not talking about machine learning, deep learning, Gen AI, it is all part of the statistical algorithm. Simple reason is that we are mimicking a human body. Human body is mimicked only through statistical algorithms. Very funny, but it is like you are converting a stats. All those formulas which were developed 100 years ago, they are getting used today. Linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest. Put some data into it, learning data, and it actually starts behaving like a model. You give a new data and it starts predicting whether you will have diabetes or heart attack quite accurately. So back home to what is happening in Gen AI, why it has transformed everything. Because Gen AI or the AI as we see today is no longer a tool. I mean, it's definitely not a tool. It is an agent. Why? A tool simply automates. We know what is the output. You give aggregated data, something is coming out, a flow chart or a graph. But the output today is not aggregation. It is a decision. It is a conversation. It is actually giving its own interpretation, and it is like conversing with us. It is not what we expected it to tell. It is now telling us. So it is actually, it's totally different. It is an agent. I'll give an example. Information, whatever is information, can be processed very well by AI. Like look at the doctors. You give them a Lal Path Labs, this thing, BMI, BMR, all those reports, and it's like, okay, you have high cholesterol, this, do this. Give the same input to a machine. Within a second, it will give you a very, very accurate analysis, because it has been trained on tens and thousands of doctors' verdict. The knowledge is of 10,000 doctors, not one doctor. So that is information which is automated. You go for surgery. Today, the surgery is happening by robotic surgery, which is even more precise than what a doctor can do sometimes. But look at the life of a nurse. Suppose you have to bandage a baby which is crying. So the robot will come and do tuck, 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 tuck. The baby will start crying even more. But the nurse comes and starts telling a story. And sometimes he soothes him, and sometimes he sings, sometimes he distracts him, and then quickly winds something and then actually puts him to sleep or her to sleep. This is something which the AI cannot do, which is we call about empathy, sympathy, because there is no learning which has happened to the models on these aspects of the humans. They have only given what is there in data. So even, in fact, the keynote, the entire event started with Viksit Bharat 2047. We'll be a developed nation, definitely. The pillar of that obviously will be AI, for the simple reason that most of the data is now in India, which is local data. 122 languages, 100 languages which are spoken, 22 official languages. The data is all over in Western countries. All the large language models were trained on that, encyclopedia data, press data, this data, that data, research data. Now the LLM which is coming out is producing a synthetic data on which it is getting trained. Because the data is not there, it is producing a data and getting trained by that data only. So that is why the NVIDIA chief was here, because they think that India is the next bubble to be burst, and because there is so much of data. So we have this Bhasha model which is coming out, which is getting trained on this local data in various languages. So what is that we are going to see in future, a very near future, is basically what are the 4 pillars of the Viksit Bharat? It is basically women, it is youth, it is farmer, and it is poor. So inka vikas karo, and it will be Viksit Bharat. So why is the poor poor? Is it because he could not take a decision because of lack of education, or he took a poor decision, a bad decision? Now because he took a bad decision, things didn't work out. Now suppose he talks to the agent, AI agent, in a local language, voice, not chat, and the local language tells him, do this, do that, invest here, don't do that. He is going to be much more prosperous. I'll just wind up, it's the last example. So what is happening is that this is the way AI is going to transform the actual Indians who will not have access to the education system. That's not really required, is the skill which is required. It's like my last example. A lot of people are now working on scriptures which is 1,000 years old. Now we all grew up in my generation listening to Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani's stories. But we asked them question, Vital ne Vikram se aisa kyun bola? So they came out with their own interpretation. Now you can't go to a library and get this entire thing. Yeah, it is recorded, but once you LLM is trained on this, it starts doing the conversation with you. You ask any question on those old scriptures, and it starts answering you on that. So we are basically trying to give the same childhood experience to our kids, which is not possible in today's environment, because you now have something who is doing the conversation with you. I can go on and on with these examples. So obviously people are very skeptical whether it's going to take away jobs or whether it is going to provide jobs. The simple answer is that it is going to transform lives. You have to reskill all the time. Reskill is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I am in my late 50s. I did my PhD in AI in early 50s. I was the oldest guy. People actually mistook me for a professor. I was just a student. But I had to do it, and now I think that I have elongated my life in another 7, 8 years maybe. But I still have to do a lot of reskilling. So if I have to do it, then everybody has to do it. So that is what we don't have to be afraid of AI. It is definitely transforming our lives, but it is also increasing our productivity many, many times. The speaker before us gave a very good example of how AI is shaping up our lives for a much, much better way and saving a lot of our times. And everywhere you go, you only see AI. So I'll just wind up with the thought about it. Yes, it is transforming our lives. It is transforming our lives so very, very good. And I think it's exciting times for young generation to be in wherever they are today. Because, and secondly, the thing is that they have to reskill, relearn a lot of things. Skill and reskill. The only jobs which are safe are the masons, the carpenters, the pipe fitters, the plumbers, because they cannot be automated that easily by AI. White collar jobs have to be reskilled all the time. So thank you so much. In fact, I guess the time is also up. I thought I'll just share some of this perspective to just set the things in motion. Again, from my own user perspective, because these things are already happening, I'm involved in many of these things. And thank you so much, Sanjeev and Sanjay, for also carrying out our article on this aspect in your magazine, Enterprise IT World. And we look more forward to more such collaboration approach. And I'm also very, very happy to know that the SME channel has a lot of articles on AI, Gen AI, and various aspects of Gen AI. And they're actually taking it in a very big way forward. Thank you so much.